In the barren heart of North Yankton, winter's icy grip showed no mercy. The small town of Ludendorff slumbered beneath a suffocating blanket of snow, its silence broken only by the low rumble of a battered utility van outside a nondescript bank. Inside the van, 3 men steeled themselves for what they hoped would be a clean, quick score. Michael, the seasoned leader, exuded calm as he checked his rifle. Trevor, barely contained fury in human form, gripped his shotgun with white knuckles. Brad, the youngest, was all nerves and jittery energy, his pistol trembling in his grasp. Brad's voice wavered with an anxious optimism, assuring himself that 5 minutes would be all they needed. Trevor's response was more threat than comfort, a growl promising loyalty and violence in equal measure. Michael, as always, was the pragmatist, giving the word to move with the measured authority of someone who had survived too many jobs like this. Their boots crunched on the snow as they approached the bank's doors, moving with the efficiency of professionals. Inside, the atmosphere turned instantly electric with fear. The portly bank manager, beads of sweat forming despite the chill, struggled with the vault combination as Trevor pressed the cold muzzle of his shotgun into his side. Michael kept the crowd of tellers and customers subdued with a calculated calm, his voice deceptively gentle even as panic simmered just beneath the surface. Trevor's patience was measured in milliseconds. When the vault refused to open quickly enough, he shoved the manager aside with a curse, slapping a sticky bomb onto the heavy door. With a manic grin that bordered on euphoria, he detonated the charge. The explosion reverberated through the building, filling the air with dust and the acrid sting of burning metal. Michael coughed, eyes scanning for threats, while Trevor wasted no time stuffing stacks of cash into duffel bags. Brad, meanwhile, hovered near the entrance, his body rigid with dread. Then, the wail of approaching sirens sliced through the tension. Brad's panic spilled over, his trigger finger betraying his terror as he fired blindly at the approaching police. Outside, law enforcement had arrived in force. The snow was churned by screeching tires and the shouts of officers taking cover behind their cars, weapons drawn and ready. Michael tried to pull Brad back, but chaos had already taken hold. Glass shattered as bullets tore through the windows, transforming the bank's interior into a war zone. Trevor, always at his most alive in moments of violence, bellowed as he unleashed furious shotgun blasts of his own. The 3 men burst from the bank, running headlong into a storm of gunfire. Brad was the first to fall, a bullet catching him in the chest and sending him sprawling into the snow, his life's blood staining the ground. Trevor, wild with grief and rage, tried to drag Brad to safety, but Michael, ever practical even in the face of tragedy, forced him to keep moving. There was no saving Brad. Michael turned, laying down desperate covering fire as they retreated. Then, fate claimed him too. A bullet punched into his chest, dropping him to his knees. Blood blossomed on his coat as he gasped for Trevor to run. Torn between the urge to fight and the need to survive, Trevor finally obeyed, sprinting to the van and vanishing into the whiteout, leaving only the wreckage of their plan, their friendship, and their lives behind. Darkness fell. Years drifted by. Far to the south, the frozen wasteland of Ludendorff was replaced by the relentless sun and vibrant chaos of Los Santos. Here, the streets pulsed with the beat of hip-hop, lowriders bounced over potholes, and graffiti colored every wall. This was Franklin Clinton's world, young, ambitious, and hungry for something more than the dead-end hustle he'd inherited. Franklin stood beside a gleaming sports car, sizing up the situation. Beside him, his friend Lamar provided a noisy counterpoint, always ready with a joke or a threat. Today, their job was to repossess a car from the Vagos, a dangerous gang none too pleased to see them. When Franklin asserted his business, the Vagos leader threatened violence, but Franklin didn't blink. He was tired of being a small-time player, tired of working for crooks like Simeon Yatarian, the slick-talking car dealer. Lamar, ever the survivor, reminded him that a dead-end job was still a paying one. Together, they returned the car to Simeon, plotting their next move. Meanwhile, high above the city, Michael DeSanta, older, heavier, but still haunted, lounged on a therapist's couch. He poured out his dissatisfaction to Dr. Friedlander, describing a life of luxury that felt more like a prison. The thrill of the past was gone, replaced by boredom and a family that barely acknowledged him. His wife Amanda sought solace in yoga and shopping. His children, Tracy and Jimmy, lost themselves in social media and video games. Michael stood on his patio, looking out over the city, longing for the adrenaline and purpose he'd left behind. Franklin's next job for Simeon brought him to Michael's mansion, where he crept into the garage to retrieve a car. But Michael was waiting, bat in hand, ready to call his bluff. Recognizing a kindred spirit and perhaps an opportunity, Michael offered Franklin a deal. Deliver a message to Simeon by driving the car straight through the dealership's window. Franklin obliged, shattering not just glass but the chains of his old life. Later, as Michael relaxed in his living room, the phone rang. Simeon, furious, demanded restitution. Michael, his old instincts returning, warned him off with a quiet menace. Simeon was finished. Out in Sandy Shores, Trevor Phillips raged against the world. His life had devolved into a cycle of violence, drugs, and paranoia. But a chance mention of a bank job in Ludendorff reignited old suspicions. Could Michael still be alive? Fueled by anger and curiosity, Trevor set out for Los Santos, determined to find the truth and confront the ghosts of his past. Fates intertwined, the paths of Michael, Franklin, and Trevor were set on a collision course. The city of Los Santos, with all its promise and peril, awaited their next move, where loyalty, betrayal, and ambition would decide who survived in a world where nothing is ever truly finished.